questions from Mike and then Mark.
Hey, Coach. Your players, I guess it was maybe Severe mentioned after the last game, for whatever reason, I know Frank Martin's a friend of yours. He's spoken highly of yours. He's one of those guys you haven't been able to beat, I don't think. Do you have like a mental checklist? You beat most of these other teams in the league. Is this a big one in that respect to get one on Frank?
Well, no, not to get one on Frank. It's to get one on South Carolina. No doubt about it. I mean, they're a very tough opponent. I mean, they defend extremely well. They're aggressive. They've been very tough. They've more often than not, they've won the rebounding game on us. So, I mean, they're a really good opponent. I mean, and he's an excellent coach. So it's not as much about the personal battles at all. It's much more about the team matching up and being able to play the way we need to play and play the way we're capable of playing.
Tom, I want to ask you, how is Christian Brown doing? Do you think he'll be able to help you this season still?
We hope so. Yeah, he's getting better. He's practicing more fully right now, and I think he's gaining some confidence. So my hope would be that he would.
Let's go to Augusta and then Chip.
Hey, Coach, given that it'll be senior day tomorrow, when reflecting on Justin, Andrew, and PJ's relatively short time at Georgia, what did they bring to the team this season that will stick with you the most?
Well, they've all brought in, and again, it's a unique senior day, not only because of the season, but because they're going to have the option to come back if they want it. And that's something we'll deal with down the road. But I think that the three of them, if we're going to generalize it, they've brought a real maturity. They brought an excellent spirit. They've been well coached. And so that absolutely benefits us when they come in. And they've been great to be around. I mean, they've gotten better. I would say what I've loved too is they have appreciated being at a school like the University of Georgia. They've appreciated being in the program, at the school, at this level. And, obviously PJ had been in the ACC, but to come back home, I think was a big deal to him. But in the case of Andrew and Justin, to be at this level, and you could see it in the summertime, but you could really see it in the fall in our conditioning. And they took nothing for granted. And I think it's been a good lesson for our players that don't ever feel like you're entitled to anything, because it's all about how you work. It's all about how you prepare. It's about what you bring to the table, the impact you can make on your teammates. So I've loved having all three of them.
Just want to get your thoughts on the developments as they worked out. Obviously, you knew you were going to play South Carolina, a team that really took it to you in Columbia, and Alabama took it to you in Tuscaloosa. But I assume as a competitor, you're glad to have these opportunities. Can you just summarize how it's laid out for you now? Well,
just with Alabama, I would just say we weren't surprised that we got them, and we'll deal with that after the game tomorrow, and I'll be happy to talk about that game then. But as far as South Carolina, we've got to be better than what we were there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We didn't score very well. We didn't make shots. We let it affect our defense. We let it affect our transition defense. We've got to be really good with our rebounding. They hurt us on offensive rebounds and kickouts for threes. They hurt us in transition. And we've got to do a really good job there. We just have to persevere in the game. They're a hard team to play against. They're very physical. And they do a really good job now of backing up, and they load the paint up very well. And they've got some bona fide scores. So what we've got to do is make sure that we continue to move them when we're on offense as much as we can, be very locked into what they want to do offensively on the other end of the floor, be very, very competitive on the glass, not let them get out in transition because they're an outstanding transition team, and persevere irregardless of how our offense is going.
Let's go to Dasher and then Jed.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering if there's anything different about your team's confidence level right now, the way you guys are playing at this point in the season.
I would say probably. Yeah, I would definitely think so. They've prepared well and practiced hard all year. There's not been practices where I would look at it and say they didn't believe they were going to win. And I think they bounced back. They've showed really good resilience and bouncing back from the tough games. And I think it's a credit to how they come in and how the coaching staff comes in. The coaching staff comes in a very demanding, but let's get better mindset. And the players come in with the same thing, and they understand it. And I think that's what's helped us. So I would think the confidence level is raised. But as you know, and as anybody that follows this league, and especially when you're playing or coaching in this league, the moment you take your foot off the gas or relax for a second, it will leave you. And so for us, we've just got to continue to stay absolutely focused on how we get better and how we prepare for each game, because as usual, each game is its own entity, and we've got to make sure we understand the best recipe for beating South Carolina.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask, just what do you think has led to, I guess, the improved performance of your defense over the past couple of games? And you mentioned a minute ago not letting offense affect your defense. Is that something that you think your team has improved at and is better at now at this point?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We've changed coverages. We're more aggressive, and I've stopped worrying about what we don't have in the sense of rim presence and shot blocking presence. And this team is playing, more to their strengths, whether we're mixing defenses, whether we're trapping ball screens, whether we're switching ball screens, whatever it is. And we just needed to become a more aggressive team. And you always get worried about that when you don't have that shot blocking rim presence, because you can lose the game on dunks and layups. It's a lot easier to challenge a three than it is a dunk or a layup. But at the same time, we've got to play to our strengths. And so I think their aggressiveness has really helped, and it's helped build their confidence.
Let's go to Palmer and then Davis.
Yeah, Coach, obviously COVID-19 has changed everything this year. How does that change the way that y'all will go about senior day? I'm guessing parents and family won't be allowed on the court.
Yeah, I don't think so. I haven't looked at the whole format yet. I'll look at that later tonight, but I'm sure there'll be some adjustments that we'll have had to make.
Coach, have you watched a lot of film from the first game? Obviously, it seems like you guys have just played with so much more confidence lately. I'm just wondering how you kind of balance that versus the team that you are now.
Well, it's very hard for me to watch that game. I've watched it a couple times over the last couple days, and it's not good for my stomach. I don't know how much I'll show the team of that. We've showed them some clips, but it's really more about where they're at right now, how they're playing, what we've got to do there, and then what the adjustments that we have to make from how they guarded us the first time. And a lot more of that gets done on the floor than it does from watching the film.
Let's take our last question from Lance.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes.
You guys last time out, just right out of the gate, jumped out and just pretty much took LSU by storm. What was the message to the team before the game? And what are you going to tell about the team heading into this matchup? Because you guys are 3-1, I think, in games that you've lost and you've won the next one. What do you tell them to kind of keep their minds focused on just going out there and start strong?
Well, I think it's just, and that doesn't mean we're going to start strong. What it means is you stay locked into what that game plan is. It's reiterating that. It's making sure that you have an aggressive mindset and that they understand how important that is. That's it more than anything else.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Good
Sure.
luck in tomorrow's game.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.